Hello there again. Here we are with a comic book cover video. I haven't done one of these in a really long time. Years. I did a few of them, focusing on specific characters, Batman villains. And now I'm here to talk about just Batman covers in general. A list of my 50 favorite Batman covers. Not just any Batman covers. I did not decide to include everything that he's appeared on. One-shots, graphic novels, miniseries, all that kind of stuff. There's so much stuff. Instead, I just chose to only feature Batman and Detective Comics, his two main titles, to make it easier. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to pick 50 favorite covers out of all that stuff he's been on. Anyway, I saved images of these covers and put them in a folder on my computer, and now I'm just gonna flip through this folder and show you each cover. I've arranged them in chronological order, so not from least good to best. So this is not a top 50 list in that sense. They're just in chronological order. And anyway, here we go. The first one, Detective Comics number 69 from the early 40s. An early Joker cover. As you can see, it's the Joker. Madcap menace grips Gotham City when the Joker duels with Batman and Robin in their Harlequins hoax. A big menacing Joker looming over tiny Batman and Robin. And he's holding twin pistols. Very nice cover. It's kind of goofy though that he's actually coming out of a lamp like a genie. Why is he doing that? I don't know, I don't remember. It's been so long since I read this. But it's regarding that weird aspect of it. It's just a really cool, airy, impactful Joker cover. The next one. The partners in peril face the steel-clawed fury of the Catwoman. What is this? Batman 42. Still in the early 40s. Well, maybe not early 40s. This might actually be a bit later in the 40s. I think this is the first appearance of this design for Catwoman. The classic pre-crisis Catwoman costume. You know, the purple and the green with the cape. One of my favorite designs for Catwoman, and this is a very nice looking Catwoman right here. I really like this art style here, very 40s looking Catwoman. The style here, she's drawn in, the hair and the lips and all that. This is a very fun cover. As you can see here, Batman is lifting the page. He's lifting the cover, he's turning the page of the comic and revealing Catwoman there. She's inside the comic, as she actually is, you know, because it features a Catwoman story. She's lurking about, up to no good, most likely. A bit of a meta cover, I guess. It's kind of funny that they did that already back then when the medium was so young. Moving on. A Two-Face cover. This is not the real Two-Face though, this is not Harvey Dent, this is his butler, I think, the first imposter Two-Face. As you may know, there were 3 imposter Two-Faces back in the Golden Age. Guys dressing up as Two-Face and framing their crimes on Harvey Dent. I don't know how the hell they faked the Harvey Dent side with makeup. Like, okay, you can use makeup to make yourself look disfigured on one side of your face, but how do you make out yourself to look like exactly like Harvey Dent on the other side? I don't know. It's comics. It's a very nice Two-Face cover. A giant looming Two-Face spinning a giant coin between the dynamic duo. You know, let's just disregard that it isn't actually Harvey Dent. I like to pretend that it is Harvey Dent and just see this as a Two-Face cover. I also like how they always build Two-Face, as you can see here, as the most bizarre villain of all time. They always did that back in the Golden Age. That's very nice. They don't do that anymore. I guess he's not considered to be that bizarre anymore. This was Batman 50, by the way. And here we have Detective Comics 164. A very basic standard cover here. Just Batman and Robin running towards us, and a ton of bat signals in the background. But it looks nice. It's very Batman-ish imagery, very kind of iconic imagery, you know, how you picture Batman. Stands out as a typical Batman image. Kind of reminds me of the 60s show too, as we would get shots of Adam West and Burt Ward running in the streets, you know, towards the camera. Simple cover, but good nonetheless. Sometimes amazing things don't need to appear on the cover. You can just have a simple image like this and it's still very nice. Detective Comics 224. This might be the 50s now. Probably, because here we've got a robot Batman. Typical 50s. A lot of stupid, goofy sci-fi stuff happened during those days. Featuring the Batman machine. Two goons blasting away with guns at this robot Batman marching down the streets. And we have these two swooping in. What are they gonna do? Are they gonna stop this thing or help it fight these goons? I don't know. This is a comic I haven't actually read. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Why is a robot Batman marching down the streets? I don't want to find out, because whatever it is, it's gonna be a disappointment. You know that. It was always like that, usually, with these comics. You had a really weird cover. And then it turns out that what happens in the comic is a bit of a fake out. So yeah, I'm never gonna read this because it's just gonna ruin it probably. I just love this cover though. This really weird image of a robot Batman marching down the streets. It's so of the times. Moving on to the next one. Another typical similar example of the previous one. A very weird sci-fi cover that you have no idea what the hell's going on here. Some weird stuff happening. This one is from the early 60s, so we've jumped ahead quite a bit here. It's Batman 160. I think it's 61, 2, something like that. The alien boss of Gotham City. The head of the gimmick gang is an alien! And he's electrified Batman. So a lot of stuff is going on here. Not only is this gang leader revealed to be an alien, but Batman is also getting electrified from the belt, I guess. He's using the belt, his belt buckle to do that. Some kind of sci-fi gimmick here. Just a really nice image, eye-catching image. Batman approaching this gangster, who's by the way wearing a really nice suit. A purple suit with a checker pattern on it. And a bow tie. He's got a white fedora. And Batman just rips off this mask, this rubbery looking mask, revealing a green alien head underneath. Yeah. I just love this image. By the way, this is another comic I have not read. I planned on reading this a long time ago and making a video about this character in my Forgotten Supervillains series. But I never did. And I think it should stay that way, because I don't want to find out who this guy is and what his deal is, because it's probably gonna be disappointing. I bet Batman's gonna rip off that face too, and that's a mask as well, and it's another guy underneath, and it wasn't an alien. You know, something stupid, Scooby-Doo-ish like that. I don't know, maybe not though. It was the Silver Age. So it was in that period when you had a ton of actual aliens in Batman stories. So maybe not. Maybe it is an alien. I'm kind of debating, should I read this or shouldn't I? Because it could get ruined. This awesome cover could get ruined when I actually read the story. Extra, Mystery of Madcap Island. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Classic Penguin cover. I've talked about this one before on the Penguin cover video. It's one of my favorite Penguin covers. Just such typical Penguin imagery. Iconic stuff. He's blasting away, flying away on a rocket umbrella, tipping his hat, and he's holding his latest loot. Bidding Batman and Robin goodbye, adieu. So long, friends. Yeah, love the purple background too. Great Penguin cover. Batman 169. Batman 171, The Remarkable Ruse of the Riddler. Classic Riddler story that inspired the first episode of the Adam West Show, and a awesome cover. Batman and Robin punching Riddler, and he's spinning around like a top. This is another example of the cover being better than what's actually going on in the story, because once you read it, you find out what's actually happening. It's not as fun as it seemed on the cover. A very fun, dynamic cover here. Typical Silver Age comic book cover, comic book art. Next one, Batman. I can't see, it's been cut off there. It's an issue of Batman though. 60s. This was the Scarecrow's triumphant return after many years of an absence for many years. He only appeared twice in the 40s, and then he returned here with this comic in 1967, I think, Fright of the Scarecrow. And this cover really stands out among most other covers from the 60s because it's so eerie and creepy. I mean, this is a serious cover, right? Nothing goofy going on here. Scarecrow looming, standing on this hill, and holding Batman's seemingly dead corpse. Carmine Infantino, by the way, drew this. Batman has been defeated, at least. He might be dead or not, but he's defeated nonetheless by the Scarecrow. Quite menacing imagery here for the 60s, particularly. It says here, oh, they got holy cliffhanger. Yeah, okay, sir, you notice that you're still in the campy days. I can't read all of it since it's cut off. But the only villain he's compelled to fear, something like that. It says, I remember that. So yeah, Scarecrow, the only villain that Batman is afraid of. Quite a statement, particularly at the time, to come with this in the middle of the campy age. Love this cover, very striking, very eerie. Another classic Penguin cover. I prefer the other one, but this one is really nice too. Really like the design for Penguin here. He looks so goofy but good, like goofy in a good way. This is classic Penguin. This is what, you know, I don't think Penguin should look like this anymore, but this is how, you know, classic Penguin is supposed to look like. The old school Pengy, the master thief, the eccentric goofy master thief, Batman 190, his weapon umbrella army. And Batman has a bat shield. It's kind of a interesting sight. Didn't he have that in the 60s TV show too in some episode? I want to remember that he did. Also Infantino. Infantino was a great artist. He made a lot of awesome covers in this period. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so here we are in the airy 70s. We've moved on from the campy days and have gone into more serious times. This very fittingly for the time, because they were trying to go back to the early days of Batman's roots of 1939. Denny O'Neil and Frank Robbins and those guys, that is what they were doing. And very fittingly enough, this cover is a throwback to one of those covers from those days. A Detective Comics cover from 1939, presumably penciled by Bob Kane. Who knows though who really penciled it. I like to think that he did do it because, you know, I want him to have done something, you know, not to be a total fraud. But this was done by Neil Adams. Neil Adams' take on that classic cover. That was the Mad Monk, one of the parts for the Mad Monk storyline, by the way, the original. This is a completely different story, though nothing to do with Mad Monk. It's a ghost story with a demonic cult. The Demon of Gothis Mansion. Classic 70s, early 70s Batman story. Very airy, spooky stuff. Typical of the time. No more sci-fi, none of that stuff. Instead we had horror stuff, like Hammer horror style stuff in Batman comics. A great striking cover. I love this one. I would really like to have this one as a poster. Batman, the looming image of Batman here, sort of like a ghost image of Batman. The castle on this hill, the cult guy, the cult leader guy, the cape and all, with his hellhounds chasing this damsel. It was, by the way, Alfred's niece or something in the story. She's been kidnapped by a cult. And Batman is going to save her. We've got the full moon here and the fog, the bats. Everything is awesome except for Robin here without pants. Put on some pants, Robin. You're ruining this cover a bit. Let's move on. Oh, Two-Face again. I light up as soon as I see Two-Face. Classic Two-Face cover. For Two-Face's triumphant return, he hadn't appeared for a long time, and this was finally his comeback in 1971. Half an Evil, classic Two-Face story. It's historically a very important story, but not a fantastic story. I don't think I've ever talked about that story really before. I reviewed it. It's not as... it's okay. It's just a decent Two-Face caper. Nothing really special. But it was very important for bringing him back, and bringing him back in a serious way. And this cover really helped, of course. Very, very standout cover. It draws your attention immediately. This menacing mug here in the background, giant menacing mug. With this hideous side on the one side. I bet a lot of people, like, at the time, they didn't even know Two-Face was. They see this like, ooh, who is this? Who is this guy? The return of Two-Face, twice as evil, twice as dangerous. I gotta read this damn comic, find out who this awesome looking dude is. And terrified Batman tied here to the front of the boat, whatever that's called. I know nothing about boats. Iconic, great Two-Face cover. Batman 242. Neil Adams again. Batman, a somber-looking Batman in a very moody scene here, standing above his own grave. How can you not like that imagery? Or rather, Bruce Wayne's grave. Bruce Wayne, rest in peace. What's going on here, you know? Why is Batman standing over Bruce Wayne's grave? Has Bruce Wayne really died? Then who is this? Is this a ghost? Well, of course, you know, Batman faked Bruce Wayne's death. You know that if you've read it. A very moody, airy cover. Again, we've got a nice full moon, a very large, huge full moon, and a swarm of bats. Looks really great, and I just love the way Batman is drawn here. I don't know, and this pose he's got, just standing over the grave, leaning against the headstone. It's kind of hanging above it, over it, looking down onto it, and the gauntlets on his gloves looks really nice here. And I love the way the cape is drawn, how it drapes completely over one shoulder and then partly over the other. I don't know, it's just a very nicely drawn Batman in a really nice pose. A great cover. Moving on, classic Joker cover, Batman 251. Very iconic Joker cover. We've seen this on merchandise, t-shirts, posters. The Joker's five-way revenge. Classic Joker story, his return. Although he hadn't been absent for that long. They're like 5 years or something. Oh yeah, it's in the background. It's even in the freaking background. Yeah, I have a poster of this. I love the way Joker looks here. Neil Adams again. Looks like a devil clown. Looks like the hair looks like horns, and his eyes look really demonic, and a really sinister grin here. And Batman tied to a playing card. Giant menacing Joker. Doesn't get a whole lot better than this when we're talking about Joker covers. Detective Comics 456, an obscure comic featuring a forgotten villain, one-shot villain. You might think this is Poison Ivy because of the text here. Death Kiss sounds like Poison Ivy, right? And she's got red hair, and she's clearly a femme fatale. But this is not Poison Ivy though. This is just a random one-shot rogue. Very forgettable. I read this comic many years ago, and I remember very little of it. Batman was poisoned by her kiss and got sick and almost dying. I forget really what her whole deal was, her motivations, even her name, I don't remember. Very forgettable villain. That I do remember, that she was not worth remembering. But it made for a really cool cover, very film noir cover. Here we have this femme fatale in this nice dress, standing above a presumably dead Batman, lying dead in a spotlight, very film noir. And we've got these goons, gangsters in the background with Tommy guns. Yeah, I just love film noir imagery. And this is one of the best film noir Batman covers. The story is mediocre, but the cover is fantastic. I think this is 1975, by the way. If anyone wants to know where we are at time in the timeline. Batman 291, classic cover here. The four-parter with the trial, where the villains put on a trial to find out who murdered Batman. Here we have 6 rogues standing by Batman's grave. 1977, so this is 1977. Batman died, 1977. May he rest in peace. Crossover. May he burn in hell, of course. And it was the Joker who did it. Oh, Joker, you cheeky little bastard. He reveals there that he's the one who did that. You asshole. I thought you liked Batman. Nice statue there. I guess Gordon had his headstone made, probably. And they come here and vandalize it. They should be arrested. They're all gathered here. You could arrest them easily. Riddler, Poison Ivy, Scarecrow, Lex Luthor, Catwoman, and the Joker. Great Bronze Age designs for these characters. I love these designs. Classic Riddler, Ivy, Scarecrow, Luthor, Catwoman, and Joker. All of them sporting their classic Bronze Age designs, which I love. Just amazing Bronze Age comic book imagery here. And it's always great, of course, to get a collection of rogues. I naturally gotta love that. Moving on. This is another part of the same story. On this one we only have the Riddler, of course. This is the part where the Riddler reveals his testimony, how he murdered Batman, trying to claim credit for it. Batman 292. This is one of my favorite Riddler covers. Here we have a classic Riddler in his jumpsuit, looking more menacing than he usually did, maybe, in those days, because, you know, he was a bit of a goofy villain in those times, you know, a bit campy. But here he looks very menacing, despite sporting this very outlandish outfit. And he's killed Batman, presumably, and he's got the evidence right here, his tattered cape and cowl, and standing in a crater, triumphant. Just awesome imagery. Really love this. Any cover with this Riddler really is nice, you know, because it's just such a standout design. This bright green outfit covered in question marks immediately catches your attention. So any cover featuring this Riddler will be a nice one. Or just, you know, any good Riddler design. He can wear a suit too, and that will stand out as well. But I do have a soft spot for this design. It's not my favorite preferred design for Eddie. I do prefer the suit, but this is still one I have a soft spot for. Let's carry on, shall we? Batman 296, the Scarecrow, my favorite Scarecrow comic cover of all time. Giant Scarecrow chasing a tiny, terrified Batman. This is probably a fear toxin vision. This was the first appearance of the fear toxin, by the way. The fear toxin as we know it today, that makes you hallucinate your worst fears. He had used other toxins and stuff, but not this one. Featuring the macabre master of fear, the Scarecrow. Really creepy Scarecrow. It's the classic Scarecrow design, but different. It's not exactly the same. It's creepier than it usually was at the time, right? Especially the mask here. The mask looks a bit different. It looks creepier. He looks even more of a horror character here, and also in the actual story, because the same artist did the interior artwork. Who was it? Amendola. Sal Amendola? I think his name is. Very unusual Batman artwork that we didn't really see at the time in other issues. Moving on, Sign of the Joker from The Laughing Fish, of course, part 2 of that story. One of the best Joker covers of all time, even though it doesn't actually feature him. But you don't need him on this cover, you know, this is enough. We've got a Jokerized Batman. Batman infected with Joker toxin and all these corpses here lying on the ground, dead, with grins on their faces. Terrifying imagery, really. It's just such a creepy image. Joker corpses, people who's been killed with the Joker venom. It's such a creepy damn image. This was Marshall Rogers, one of my favorite Batman artists, and this is my favorite cover by him. The background here with the lightning and the city, Batman and his cape flowing in the wind, everything looks great on this. Such a haunting image. This is such a haunting image, just seeing Batman like this. Yeah. Moving on. Ooh, Two-Face, my favorite Two-Face cover, or at least it used to be. I'm not sure if I would say it is anymore. It's in the very top though. But maybe not my very favorite, maybe. I'm not entirely sure, I might have changed my mind. But don't quote me on that, because I'm not quite sure. This is a great looking Two-Face here. I love this design here, this drawing of him. I forget who drew it. But it's a really cool looking Two-Face sitting here on his couch in his little hideout that's split down the middle just like he is. It's all dirty and messy here on this side and fancy on the other side. Clean and fancy. I just love this design. Two-Face here, the suit, the scarring. Of course they flip the colors. It's usually purple on the bad side and orange on the good side, but you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I love the plaid too, and the fact that he's got a glove on this hand. We had a discussion about this a while ago on Discord. Someone asked, what do you prefer, Two-Face with a scarred hand or without a scarred hand? Just a face. And my answer is neither of that, with a glove. I like it when he has a glove on the one hand. Batman sneaking up on him, very moody, kind of airy cover. A bit film noirish too, I don't know, it just gives me film noir vibes for some reason. Awesome looking Two-Face cover. If it's not my favorite Two-Face cover anymore, it's still in the top, like probably my second favorite. That was Batman 313, by the way, 1979. It was published in. The story itself, I haven't read in many years, but I remember it wasn't the best. It was okay, but not the best. But it is due for a reread, because I've only read it once and many years ago, like 10 years ago or something. Classic Joker cover for the story Dreadful Birthday, Dear Joker. Here we have Joker celebrating his birthday with a giant purple Joker cake, and of course the candles are his worst enemies. Classic stuff. I love the way Joker looks here. Look at that mug. Just look at it. So lovely. This is how I picture Joker, you know, the classic evil clown Joker, you know, evil prankster character. That's how I want my Joker, not the stuff we often get today. I also think they go overboard with trying to make him creepy these days. I don't think Joker should be the creepiest villain in the Rogues Gallery. You know, we have other rogues for that. I think you should focus more on Joker just being funny in a very dark way. Evil and funny, you know, that's the Joker. Not being this really creepy, scary horror character. Anyway, moving on. Scarecrow cover again. It doesn't feature Scarecrow though. Instead, we've got a Batman Scarecrow. Very haunting imagery again. Batman turned into a Scarecrow. It makes you wonder what's going on here. Is this actually Batman who's been transformed into a Scarecrow somehow? Or just a Scarecrow dressed up as Batman? I don't know. It's a creepy cover for sure, and the full moon there. And it's the field here, the grass field or straw, whatever, in the background here. And they're all terrified, just running towards this thing. Worried, of course, thinking something terrible has happened to Batman. And I love that this cover has a Dutch angle. This is a nice way to angle your cover, the perspective, to give it a Dutch angle, to make it feel more uneasy. Detective Comics 510, early 80s. My favorite Mad Hatter cover. I love how he's just standing there by the controls looking all menacing and mad, and he's shocking Batman. Batman is strapped to this electric chair type contraption. And the Mad Hatter is shocking the hell out of him. The Mad Hatter used to collect hats, but now he hunts the heads they cover. Ooh, creepy stuff. This was, of course, the return of the original Mad Hatter. He hadn't appeared in like 40 years or something, and now he finally returned and dethroned the imposter Mad Hatter, who had been reigning supreme for decades. A very great cover to use to reintroduce this character by. Very menacing, very dynamic cover. I like the colors that they've given it too, this sort of yellowish glow. Everything is in this yellowish glow. You know, obviously it's supposed to be the light from the lightning that Batman is being shocked from. Really makes it stand out more and seem more dynamic. More explosive. Really great cover. On Catwoman again. I haven't seen her in a while. My favorite Catwoman cover, only if we're only talking about Batman covers featuring her, not including her own titles, because she's had so many, appeared on so many iconic stuff here. These two fighting their eternal struggle. They get along at times, sure, but there will always be a conflict between the two nonetheless. And here we have that represented with their shadows too, their animal avatars, a cat and a bat. Just love this imagery here, just really nice iconography. Batman and Catwoman. Batman versus Catwoman. And in their classic costumes. Really nice stuff. This cover also makes me think of Batman Returns, with the bat and the cat text here, because they advertised that movie on, you know, on posters and trailers and stuff. They always use the words the bat, the cat, and the penguin. You might remember that. So it makes me think of that. Maybe they took that from this cover. I don't know. This doesn't say a year yet. They didn't put the year until sometime in the 80s on the covers for some weird reason. And Marvel did it even later, I think. I don't know why. Yeah. Fantastic Catwoman cover, my favorite, not counting her own covers. Nice film noir cover again. Batman lying dead in a spotlight. A shadowy character standing here, silhouette, can't see his face. He's got a smoking gun, and the smoke is forming the Bat logo here, the Batman logo. Love that. Really nice film noir type imagery here. This is the forgotten villain, the Squid. Not Sid the Squid, just the Squid. He was a recurring villain in the Jerry Conway run in the early 80s. A gangster, a mob boss. Kind of eccentric mob boss. Look at his pants. Love these pants, checkerboard pants. He had a weird haircut too, kind of like squid tentacles. Looks like that. I always meant to do a video on him. Forgotten Villains video on him, but I don't know if it'll ever happen. Guess we'll see. Moving on. Riddler cover again. As I said, you can't go wrong with a Riddler cover. This is a really dynamic one. Batman and Riddler are standing in very dynamic poses, and we've got a very nice perspective on the whole thing. Kind of angled from below, making it look even more dynamic. And the money is flowing all over the place. That's some nice loot Riddler's got here. Damn, that's a lot of sparkles and stuff. He's made a nice haul this time, but of course that stupid Dark Knight is there to ruin it. Batman the Party Pooper. And I love what they're saying here, it's like a pun. Riddle me this, who's this crime doesn't pay? I do. Okay. I always imagine him saying that in Christian Bale's voice, because it makes it even funnier. I don't know, I just like this sort of pun they're doing here on the cover. It's a very funny cover. Nice Joker cover, one of my very favorite Joker covers. They're fighting. Nice, you know, their eternal struggle against each other, these arch enemies. Fighting atop a building, very gothic looking building, kinda Tim Burton-ish looking building here, and the logo is on the building. That's a nice touch. And what I like the most about this cover is the design for Joker here. This is a really nice looking Joker. Especially the face. That's a really nicely designed Joker face. That giant grin, and the wild green here. I think it was drawn by Walt Simmons in this cover. Great Joker design there, and he's got two twin pistols again. Isn't that Two-Face's thing? Why is Joker stealing Two-Face's thing? Okay, we got the year here, 83, so this is 1983. So that's when they started including the year on the cover. And his nice little purple fedora hat is flying away in their fight. Poison Ivy cover here. Batman entangled in Poison Ivy's vines. I almost said webs. Vines. The vines are just eating up the cover. They're even covering the logo itself. I love that about this one. They're just covering everything here. They're just taking over completely. Poison Ivy's vines and weeds and plants and stuff just running wild, taking over the entire thing. A slight case of Poison Ivy. No, I don't think it is a slight case. It's an extreme case of Poison Ivy here. A great villain cover, a great use of a villain cover that doesn't actually feature the villain on it, but you don't need her on this one, because this image here says it all. Great Poison Ivy cover. A classic one, a collection of rogues. Batman walking down, entering his like trophy room or something, and here we've got images of his rogues gallery, his greatest villains. Prowl the Dark Knight's rogues gallery, if you dare. Are these supposed to be photos or paintings? Who's painted them in that case? Alfred? Probably. It's kind of cute that Batman has these images of his rogues. Like, I guess that proves that he kind of likes them too. He kind of considers them to be family too, so it isn't just them, it's him too. That's cute, Batman. Aw, Batman, you like them too. By the way, what the hell is Killer Moth doing here? Killer Moth! And next to the Joker even. Just imagine if Killer Moth saw this. That he's up there on the wall with Batman's greatest enemies. I guess Batman secretly considers Killer Moth to be one of his greatest enemies. The Scarecrow is suspiciously absent here. Like, shouldn't the Scarecrow have been there instead of Killer Moth? Yeah, that's a bit of a weird choice. Moving on. Maybe the most, definitely the most iconic cover on this entire list. Year 1, Bruce Wayne, little Bruce Wayne kneeling down beside his dead parents. Classic iconography here that's been used in movies and games and other comics and cartoons and everything. So yeah, you gotta love this cover. In a way, it's the ultimate Batman cover. Because this right here is what it's all about with this character. 404, Batman 404. In case some of you didn't know, because these days you do see view Year One as a graphic novel, right? Not really as a comic story that was published in a comic magazine, but originally it was, across 4 issues of Batman in 1987. Next one, a great Two-Face cover, one of my very favorite Two-Face covers, Detective Comics 580. A great design here for Two-Face, the classic Two-Face, green scarring. Purple and orange suit. Such a dynamic and explosive cover. I love this explosion here, and they're just being flung away. And Two-Face looks great. Menacing and all. Flipping his coin. You know, I just love this type of designs for Two-Face, where he looks like he's half a monster. It's not realistic, no. And he's even got kind of sharp, pointy teeth there. He looks like half a ghoul or something, you know. And it's not realistic, but it looks very nice. And it's a comic book. I mean, you know, it's not supposed to be realistic. I mean, look at these people right here. Their costumes. Is that realistic? You think you could go out and fight crime dressed like this without pants on? No. Does it have to be so realistic? I mean, obviously, in more modern, realistic Batman settings, you shouldn't do this. This design for Two-Face. I'm not demanding that. And realistic-looking Two-Faces can be great too. But I do often miss this, though, where he looks like half a monster, you know, because symbolically, that's what he's supposed to be, the character. Half man, half monster. Anyway, let's move on. Very simple cover, but very eye-catching nonetheless. Very Batmanish. Batmanish imagery here by Norm Brayfogle. I love the rain effects done here as well. And the cape flowing in the wind like that. Looks amazing. Very stylized. Typical Norm Brayfogle. He always liked to play around with the cape. The lightning in the background. 1988. The same thing basically. Stylized. The cape looks amazing. Making all kinds of weird shapes. That doesn't really make any sense, but it looks really good. Batman looks really cool there. Really moody, grim. His face in shadows. I love the red, blood red background. This is Todd Mcfarlane. One of the very few Batman covers that Todd Mcfarlane drew, and it is a really good one. Really eye-catching one. The bats and everything. Another very kind of stylized cover, Batman behaving. We got cut off there because the camera died, or the memory was full on the damn camera. Maybe I should stop filming these damn things and just recording on my mic. That's a lot easier. Anyway, what was I saying about this cover? Batman is behaving like a bat, hanging upside down. He's gone batty. Very moody, nice, eye-catching cover. Nothing's really going on here except for Batman losing his mind, I guess. But it's a nice, you know, Batman in a cool pose. Very nice scenery here. The full moon and everything. I love this cover. I had this cover on in my old Swedish collection of Batman comics. This cover was used for a completely different story. For the Cornelius Sturck story, they used this cover. They had both parts slapped together into one comic, and this cover was used for it. So neither of the actual Cornelius Sturck covers. Instead, I used this one. And I always remember this cover fondly because of that, because I have a lot of memories of it. Well, I've known of it for a very long time. Because this was like 15 years ago or more that I got that comic. Which was, of course, already old at the time. It was 15 years old at the time when I bought it, you know, like a second-hand store that sold old moldy stuff. Anyway, let's move on here. My favorite Joker cover of all time, and not only that, but also my favorite image of the Joker. I love this Joker image right here, this illustration of the character by Norm Brayfogle. I love that face of his here, so insane and manic looking. That is one manic looking Joker. Love that smile of his and those crazy eyes. That expression on his face, damn, that is really, really well done, Mr. Brayfogle. And his longer hair, and the wide brim, the fedora, and his coat here, trench coat, and he's just blasting away with a Tommy gun. Looks amazing. Joker just going nuts and enjoying it, as you can see, just firing at bats. And Batman is lunging at him. He's unaware that Batman is lunging at him here from behind with claw-like hands. Nice. Awesome cover. 1990, late July 1990. One of the covers for the three-parter, the Riddler three-parter Dark Knight Dark City. All those covers, all the three covers used for that story were great, but this is my favorite. Zombies. Batman being attacked by a swarm or a herd of zombies just coming out of the ground at a graveyard. Looks amazing. By Mike Mignola, great artist. The guy who, well, you know that, of course, the guy who created Hellboy. Really nice stuff here. Really cool Batman horror cover, and just the headstone here for the grave looks amazing too. Just typical Mike Mignola. Really gothic. Tim Burton-ish. Could have fitted nicely into the Tim Burton movies. The headstone, not the zombies maybe. Of course, zombies aren't real in the actual story though. Unfortunately, they're just animatronics and guys in makeup. But it made for one hell of an awesome, airy cover. Moving on. Norm Brayfogle again, and this is another remake of an old cover from the Golden Age. This is from 1991. Instead of Dick Grayson, who was on the original cover, here we have Tim Drake, who was at the time the new Robin. This was his first night out as Robin, his first official crime-fighting night. This issue. Batman with Robin. Really is making a statement here that Robin is back after Jason Todd was murdered in 1988 by the Joker, as we all know. Love this cover. Very nice stuff. Batman and Robin doing cool poses here on the building and a spotlight hitting them. This Batman looks amazing here with his cape flowing. Just again, you know, just Norm Brayfogle playing around with the cape. Doing really nice stuff with the cape. Was great at that. Batman looking kind of Dracula-like. How he's covering himself, how he's covering his face up with the cape. Like Dracula might do. Moving on. Batman 485. A Black Mask cover. Very nice. The classic Black Mask. I love this design for Black Mask. I don't know why they changed it. I love how he used to wear this outfit in the 80s and 90s. This orange pinstriped suit and a fedora hat. Nice tie too with dots on, and he's even got matching gloves. Very mobster, very Dick Tracy-ish looking mobster villain here. And the mask was very standout. Just a weird looking face instead of a generic skull like he has these days. This design made him stand out more. It made him look more unique. It was just a plain better design. I don't know why they changed it. Very Dick Tracy-ish. Really like that. Batman is swooping down. That is what Roman is running from. We got masks here on the ground that he's just stomping all over. And the city here in the background looks really nice. Twisting buildings. They've done a really nice perspective here. From below, looking up at the sky and the buildings. It looks really cool. The buildings look very Tim Burton-ish again. Which is always nice, of course. That design for the city in those movies was fantastic. And even Batman here looks kind of Tim Burton-ish because it looks like he's wearing an all-black suit. And we've got the yellow oval standing out in all the blackness. And even the cape here is kind of shaped like the glide hanger he used in Batman Returns. Very Tim Burton-ish reminiscent. This was 1992, October 92, so the movie had come out by then. So it's possible that The artist, I think it was Michael Golden who did this cover. Let's say anywhere. Possible that he was inspired by Batman Returns and just, you know, Tim Burton designs in general. Possible. Let's move on, let's not waste time here. A Nightfall cover by Kelly Jones. The Arkham inmates just rushing Batman. Here standing on a hill, or I guess this is rubble from the Arkham building that's been blown up by Bane. Here we have the Joker leading a charge of lunatics against Batman. Batman doing a really cool pose here with his cape. Again, his cape looking amazing. Artists playing around with Batman's cape. I love that. That's what you should do. You shouldn't just hang behind his back like a wet towel. You should play around with it and do cool shapes like this. I would like to see something like this in a movie. You know, obviously doing the cape as CGI. You could do that. That would look really cool. The cape in CGI, not Batman. The cape. Kind of like they did with Spawn in the Spawn movie. Although it's been ages since I saw that. But I remember the cape was really standout in that movie. And they could do that with Batman in a movie. Live action, I'm talking here. And, you know, like this. Like we see on a lot of these covers. I will complain though. By the way, I love the way Joker looks here. Look at that face and his wild hair. And he's wearing a purple prison uniform. Does he get... do they give them customized uniforms in Arkham? I guess. But I do dislike the fact that these guys here, by the way, they look pretty cool, but that they're just random, no name characters. Not even characters. They're just, you know, extras. They could have made these rogues too. Like this guy here showing his face. Could have been Two-Face, because we get a good look at his face here. We would have seen both sides of Harvey's faces. And these other three could have been anyone really. The Riddler, Poison Ivy, Killer Croc, Scarecrow, just anyone who appeared in Nightfall. Why didn't they do that instead of making them these nobodies? The cover would have been even better. It's amazing, but it would have been even better if all of them, you know, were rogues. Kelly Jones again, 1995. My favorite Kelly Jones Batman cover. This really embraces, this is really stylized. And this really embraces the nightmarish image of Batman as this monster, this creature of the night, this demonic monster. And that is what Batman pretends to be, you know, in his war on crime. That's his main weapon, fear. This really embraces that, Batman's greatest weapon, fear. And we, often we don't see that, but this really portrays him as that creature of the shadows, this kind of bat monster, vampire thing. Really scary, creepy looking Batman. I wish he had glowing eyes though, like either white or maybe even red. It would have made it even better. And his hands are claw-like. Cape again looks amazing, and he's on a gargoyle, gothic looking building. Just awesome looking Batman artwork here, Batman imagery. This is the right way. This is the way to really do like Batman theatrical and really embrace that theatrical side of him, pretending to be a monster, all that. In a very stylized way, you know. This is not realistic looking again, but it's stylized. Moving on, Poison Ivy cover. One of my favorite Poison Ivy covers, maybe my very favorite. Doing a dynamic pose here, all distraught that plants are dying. I reviewed this comic a few years ago. This is the Weed Whacker story, a character who destroys Robinson Park or something, or just plants in general. I forget the exact details, but he's killing plants, parks, and Poison Ivy is distraught and then escapes Arkham to stop him. Love how she looks here in her this dramatic, very dramatic pose, and her hair is flowing. Nice looking classic design for Ivy. And the shadow here, the silhouette here, from the bars, the barred window, and the sun, you know, shining in, forming this silhouette here, shadow. and Batman's giant looming shadow. The leaves flowing. Really nice composition of all these things here put together. A bit film noirish again. It kind of gives me film noir vibes, this one. Let's move on. Very simple cover, just Batman standing there in a pose on a building, a rooftop. Nice background here with the sky, bats. 1996. Yeah, not much more to say about this one. It just looks really good. I like the darker colors of Batman's suit too. The darker blue and the dark gray, kind of implying that he's wearing an all-black suit. Newspapers flowing around in the wind. Gotham Gazette. Does it actually say stuff here? Penciler loses game for the Gotham Knights. Hey, Graham Nolan. Kevin Nolan. Nolan and Nolan. You pronounce those names the same way, right? But they're spelled differently. Infer convicted for gratuitous alteration. What? Some nice gags there with the newspapers. A Hush cover for the Hush storyline, which I don't like, but I do love the covers and the artwork by Jim Lee. Jim Lee right there. Batman on a night out with his two favorite gal pals. Girls' night out. Date night with Batman. Batman is out on a date with Pam and Selina. Lucky bastard. Yeah, I just love this Jim Lee artwork here. He's great at drawing sexy ladies, of course. Like, damn, he makes a really nice Poison Ivy. I think he does the best Poison Ivy of all. Like, nobody draws Poison Ivy as well as he does. I love how she looks here. So damn smoking. The pale green skin. I've always liked Poison Ivy with pale green skin. And the hair looks really good. Really big, flowing red hair. Great looking, all the vines all over the place. And Selina looks pretty nice too. Let's not forget Selina here. What's wrong with you, Batman? You should be enjoying yourself. I would have been. You know what I mean. There's a cat there. Didn't notice that before. Menacing cat, look at those eyes. Selina brought one of her. Oh, and there's another cat. How I missed all these cats before. Selina bringing her pets to the date. That's weird, Selina. Another Jim Lee cover from the Hush storyline. Killer Croc. My favorite Croc cover, I think, in the Mouth of Madness. Just a really monstrous Croc about to devour Batman. Poor Batman struggling against this horrifying beast. It's gonna eat him. Damn, I mean, Croc looks horrifying here. Really nice artwork here. The giant jaws. Teeth. Just rows of razor sharp teeth. The big tongue. Ugh, man. Maybe you don't like the more monstrous looking Croc. I do. I do like a very monstrous looking Croc. I don't mind it when he looks like a giant dinosaur, so to speak, as long as it's drawn well, you know. I don't think he should be too dinosaurish looking. Like, he shouldn't have like a giant dinosaur spine and a huge tail and all that. You can do the monstrous Croc really well. Although in general, I do suppose I prefer a more human Croc. But the really monstrous one can work very well too, and here it definitely does. Poor Batman. Black Mask. This is one instance where I do love this design for Black Mask, because Matt Wagner, I think it is, has just done some great artwork here. Amazing. Black Mask looks totally badass here. And I even like his suit. Black pinstriped suit. Here it all fits and looks nice, but usually it doesn't, and the mask is even cracked here. I haven't noticed that before. That's really creepy and cool looking face here on Black Mask. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of this skull face, but here it looks amazing. I mean, you can't deny that this image here looks really cool. The king of Gotham City, and a cowl pinned to the wall with a big knife. Yeah, this is a badass looking Black Mask. One rare instance where I really like the skull-faced, black-suited design for the character. Moving on, Croc again. Hello, Croc. Again, giant monstrous Croc about to eat Batman. The jaws of Killer Croc. Into the jaws of Killer Croc. Batman 642. We're getting close to the end here, by the way. It's soon gonna be over. Love this logo too. This logo here. Wish they hadn't. I wish they'd continued using this logo. Anyway, this is a nice play with perspective, because Croc isn't as big as he appears. Because if you look closely, you can see that the tail of Batman's cape is going behind Croc's tongue. So that means Batman is further away in the background, and Croc is closer to us. So he just looks so humongous. He actually isn't this massive. So that's a very nice creative play with perspectives and scale. By the way, this is the cover of a great Croc story, which I included in my top 5 Croc stories. The story where Croc goes after vengeance on the Mad Hatter after he put a chip into Croc's brain. Great one that portrays Croc as very sympathetic, as he should be. Let's move on. Black and white Detective Comics cover. This was during the Paul Dini run on Detective Comics, and all the covers were done like this in black and white by the same artist, whose name I don't know. I think this is a signature right here, down here, but I can't see what it says. But this one is the best out of all these covers. A very standout cover. Everything is black and white, except for the blood, which is red, of course. Very dramatic cover, very somber, sad cover. Batman is sitting here with this woman, this victim, presumably, who is either dead or dying, and he's holding her in his arms while she's just bleeding out on the ground here. I guess there's nothing he can do. It's too late for... look at his face. So somber. He's lost this one. I forget what's really going on here. Like, who is this? I think this is the first appearance of the second ventriloquist, the female one, Peyton Riley. But this is not her, of course. I might be wrong. It might not be that issue, but I want to remember that it is. But I don't remember this specific scene in the story. It's been a while since I read it. 2007 it came out. March 2007. Detective Comics 827. Let's move on. Almost over. Batman 700 by David Finch. Another very simple cover, just Batman posing, but it looks badass as all hell. On a gargoyle, I guess? I don't know. Some kind of statue on a building in Gotham. Batman looks great here. This is a really well done art here. It looks almost photorealistic, especially the cape here. They've done some amazing work here with the cape. Batman's face in shadow. I love it when Batman's face is cloaked in shadows and all we can see are his white eyes shining in the darkness. That's really nice imagery. Again, something I would like to see in live action movies, which you could easily do, especially using CGI. Like, there's right ways, the proper ways to use CGI. You don't want to do like entire fights in CGI, Batman fighting in CGI, that will look horrible. But things like this, a shot of Batman in shadows, enhanced, perhaps only, enhanced with CGI, adding this kind of stuff, and a flowing cape. Let's move on. Poison Ivy cover again. This is from the New 52, one of the like very few New 52 covers. Most of these covers, of course, almost all of them are from the old days. The pre- and the post-crisis continuities, because, you know, comics were just plain better back then, including the covers, the artwork. That's just a fact. I never liked this costume, the new 52 costume for Ivy. Kind of stupid. You don't want to cover her up. Like, she's Poison Ivy. She's supposed to be sexy and sultry. That's her main thing. She needs to show some skin, obviously. But here, for this design, they covered her up completely. And with black. Like Poison Ivy, black, that's not a color for her. That's not what you imagine Ivy with. You imagine greens and reds. Warm greens and reds, not freaking black. So that was a very weird choice. But the artist here, Jason Fabic, did a fantastic job with this costume nonetheless, because he's so damn good apparently. Such a fantastic artist that he was able to make this stupid costume look amazing, because Poison Ivy looks great here. Super sexy, super hot. Even though she's wearing this costume, he still managed to make her look super hot. Love the flowing red hair. Looks very sinister. She's got something sinister plotted. And Batman looks great too, all tied up in vines here in the background. He looks pretty pissed. He doesn't like what's going on here. Yeah, great. The vines look amazing. And the last one, here we end on this one. 0 Year. Dr. Death, the 0 Year version of Dr. Death, the new 52 version of Dr. Death. Yeah, Batman is a horrifying monster. That's very eye-catching. This looks horrifying. Look at this face, if you can even call that a face. These jaws, these teeth. This is some horrifying stuff. Definitely one of the scariest Batman covers ever. Batman has been, I forget the details of the story, poisoned with the Dr. Death formula or whatever it was that turned people into these freaks to make them physically superior or something. Some mad scheme he had. I don't think this happened in the story though. Batman didn't turn into a monster in the story, did he? This is just symbolic. And damn, is it nice looking. Amazing looking. And the bones are just coming right through the bat symbol here. Great stuff. When you see this cover, you just immediately gotta know what's going on here, and you just gotta read it. And that is what comic covers are really for. They're supposed to advertise the thing and draw you in, make you interested, make you wanna pick it up. Hey, yeah, that was it. That is the last one. There you have it. My top 50 Batman covers of all time. Only including Batman and Detective Comics though. No other titles. Because that would have been too difficult to choose from. And this video would have been even longer maybe. I've already made this video once before as a top 100. That's what I did. I made it as a top 100. But I decided to trim it in half, just 50, because that video I made at first was just too rambly, too long, too boring, and I got too exhausted sitting here talking about 100 freaking covers. In the end, it was a very, very poorly put together video. I hope this one isn't, that this one is a bit better so I can actually upload it. Maybe not, maybe when I edit this and look through it, I'm gonna discover that this is shit too, and I'm just gonna toss this one as well. I wasted 2 occasions on making this damn covers video. Hopefully not though, hopefully this gets up there, you can see it. And this has been going on for 100 years, still, even though it's only 50 covers, and I bet no one's still watching. If you are still watching, you're a champion and a true warrior, and I salute you. You're amazing. Your patience knows no bounds. You're a true fan. Thank you very much. And let me know your favorite Batman covers in the comments. Maybe not 50 or 100, just 10 or 20 or something. And feel free to include all kinds of covers. There's not just Batman and Detective Comics. Include anything. One-shots and miniseries and all these other titles. Yeah, comic book art. Comic book cover art. Covers. Love comic book covers. And I should shut the fuck up now and just move on. What do I usually say at the end of my videos? I don't even remember. It's been so long. Oh yeah, remember, Arkham Asylum awaits you in the next video.